pack your bags. Not as a possibility, as a done deal. The move has already been signed off on, and you're here right now because heaven needed you to hear this before another day slipped by, trying to hold on to something that's already expired. I'm not going to ask for your permission to move you. I already signed that decree. The question now isn't whether you're leaving. The question is whether you're leaving knowing who you are, or if you're going to keep trying to convince the old place that you still belong there. Stick around until the end of this video. Before it's over, you're going to receive the exact protocol to align what's inside with what's already started outside. Don't miss this. But before the protocol, I need to talk about what you were feeling this morning. You looked at yourself in the mirror before everyone else woke up. It wasn't a look of admiration. It wasn't a look of gratitude. It was that look of someone trying to recognize their own face and not finding the version that should be there anymore. You stood there for an extra second, like you were waiting for some answer to appear in the reflection. And the reflection gave back nothing but silence. And at night, when the house cools down and the noise of the day stops, you open that mental list. Everyone has one. The list of things that should have changed. The list of what you hoped this year would deliver. The list of what's still the same. And you go through it item by item. Not because you enjoy hurting yourself, but because a part of you still thinks that if you review it closely enough, you'll find where you went wrong. You'll figure out which step you skipped, and the list ends the same way it started. No answer. Just silence and that feeling that something isn't right. During the day, you smile. You reply to messages. You show up at meetings, lunches, hallway conversations, and no one sees that inside. You're carrying the feeling that you don't belong there anymore, that something has expired, that you're visiting a place that was once home and now feels like a stage. And when you see someone around you moving forward, changing cities, accepting an offer, starting something new, the first thing you feel isn't envy. It's a question that hurts more than any answer. What am I doing wrong? Because they move and I stay. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. Wrong. Because they move and I stay. Because the world around me spins and I'm stuck in the same spot. You're still standing. And that comes at a cost most people won't understand. The like here is your public amen. Heaven registers what you confess openly. If you made it this far still standing, drop that like because this act of resistance deserves to be proclaimed. I placed you here because this word is for you, not for the next channel over, not for the person who will watch this video later. For you, right now, in this exact moment when you're carrying the weight of a season that lasted longer than it should have. So before we go any further, let me make 3 promises. First, the discomfort you're feeling with where you are isn't ingratitude. It's not a lack of faith. It's not spiritual immaturity. It's divine signaling that the season has expired. Heaven didn't give you discomfort to punish you. It gave it to move you. Second, before this video ends, you're going to receive the Authorized Departure Protocol. 3 concrete steps to step out of the parallel and into the movement that's already been ordered. These aren't motivation steps. These are obedience steps. Third, by the end, you'll be able to say out loud with certainty, not hope certainty, the words, I am authorized to leave. Now close your eyes for a second. Look away from the screen for a moment. Breathe. What I'm about to tell you doesn't work if your attention is divided. There are signs that heaven places in someone's life when the season is ending. Signs that the enemy works hard to make you label as weakness, as a crisis, as instability. But they're signs, and I'm going to name them one by one. The first sign is a loss of flavor in the routines that used to feed you. You wake up to the same day and feel like the menu has gone stale. The things that used to energize you now pass by in a blur. The meeting you looked forward to, the project you loved, the conversation that inspired you. Everything arriving with the same texture of something repeated. And you wonder if you've lost the ability to find joy. You haven't. You're being tuned in for a different menu. The spiritual palate changes before the dish arrives. The second sign is that people from the old circle start to bother you for no clear reason. It's not that they've gotten worse. It's that you're on a different frequency. The friction you feel in those relationships isn't human incompatibility. It's a frequency separation before the physical separation. Heaven separates what's together before moving what needs to go. The third sign is dreams about places you've never visited and faces you've never seen. You wake up without remembering the name of the place, but the feeling stays. The familiarity with the unknown stays. The spirit recognizes the destination before the mind has the address. You don't dream for nothing. You're being introduced to what's coming. The fourth sign is the urge to organize and let go. Taking things out of the closet. Closing out commitments that were left open. Clearing the calendar. You called it anxiety. You called it a cleaning compulsion. It's not. It's advanced spiritual preparation. The spirit starts packing the bags before the body gets the address. The fifth sign is a sudden quietness in what used to stir up agitation. The heart stops fighting over what's left behind. The internal debate cools down. Not because you gave up, because internally you've already authorized the departure. The piece that doesn't make sense is a sign that the spirit signed the contract before you signed the paper. Write free in the comments if any of these signs have shown up for you. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy spent the most time trying to get you to ignore. The sixth sign is the feeling that you've already said goodbye without announcing it to anyone. You've already let go. Internally, you've already closed the chapter. You still show up, still fulfill your commitments, still appear on the map, but something in you has already left. And the enemy will name that as coldness, as ingratitude, as hardness of heart. He'll say that people of faith don't act this way, that you're abandoning things, that something went wrong with you. It's not coldness. It's the spirit finalizing the chapter before the body moves. God doesn't wait for you to cross the border to declare the closing. He declares it in the spirit first, and you felt that. Now close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you doesn't work with divided attention. Ruth didn't have a map. Ruth had a decision. She left her homeland, the people she knew, her support system, the familiar smell of what was home. She left without a travel brochure, without a guaranteed address on the other side, without approval from everyone who stayed. And it was exactly that obedience to the impulse to leave that positioned her in front of a harvest that wasn't available in the land she left. The viewer listening right now is also being called to cross a border without a brochure. The destination isn't unknown to heaven. It's unknown to you. And that difference is everything. But there's a second image I want to bring in. Migratory birds. No bird asks for scientific confirmation before it leaves. No bird calls a meeting with the flock to debate whether the urge is reliable. The internal code was programmed for the exact moment of departure, and when that code activates, the bird simply flies. Not because it knows where it's going step by step, because it knows that the code inside is more trustworthy than the comfort of staying. You who feel the urge to move aren't being impulsive. You're not being irresponsible. You're responding to a code older than doubt, more reliable than the opinion of those who stayed. The bridge between Ruth and the migrating bird is you. Both obey an internal signal that doesn't need to be explained to those who stay. Both leave without handing out justifications. Both arrive at what was reserved because obedience was the only ticket needed. Write in the comments. Ruth or the bird? Which is your move? Let me stop for a full minute. You came this far carrying a discomfort that lasted more than one season. You looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the version that should be there. You did the nightly inventory of what still hasn't arrived. You kept up the appearance that everything was fine, while inside the feeling of not belonging anymore grew. You saw others move forward and named your stagnation as failure when it was timing. You recognized the signs the enemy tried to call weakness: the loss of flavor, the frequency friction, the dreams of the unknown, the urge to let go, the quietness, and the goodbye you gave internally without announcing it to anyone. You found in Ruth and the migratory bird a mirror of your own urge to leave, and now you're one step away from receiving the name that I placed on this movement before you understood the destination. What you're about to hear isn't a human title. It's not a personality category. It's not the result of achievement. It's what I call you when I speak to heaven about you. The first identity is this: you are a bearer of a new season. I saw every night you opened the mental list of what hadn't arrived yet, and I saw that in that list was documented, item by item, what the previous season should have delivered and didn't. You weren't complaining. You were being a faithful witness of what a cycle didn't fulfill. And that witness is the one who carries the authority to declare that the cycle is over. What this identity authorizes is simple and powerful. You stop justifying your desire to change. The new season doesn't ask for approval from those who stayed in the old one. A bearer of a new season doesn't ask for permission. He announces. The second identity is this: you are obedient to the movement of your life. I saw you hold on to the old place out of loyalty when I had already issued the order to leave. I saw you stay out of respect for what was, even when what was had expired. I saw you not abandon your faith while waiting for a confirmation that was coming too slowly. That wasn't weakness. That was faithfulness to the process, even without understanding the process. What this identity authorizes: you let go of what no longer fits without calling it ingratitude, without calling it abandonment, without apologizing for the act of obeying. Obedient to the movement doesn't apologize for moving. He moves. The third identity is this: you are positioned for the next. I saw the talent that the previous environment didn't have the infrastructure to support. I saw the capability that was compressed because the ceiling was too low. I saw you turn down your volume to fit into spaces that weren't made for what you carry. You weren't above the place. The place was below what you are. What this identity authorizes: you enter the next environment without turning down your volume to fit. The place being prepared was chosen by the size of what you are, not by the size of what others around you can tolerate. Positioned for the next doesn't shrink at the entrance. He occupies. Write in the comments the name of the identity you just received, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. What's coming in the next videos is a continuation of what was planted here. Now I'm going to deliver what I promised from the beginning. The protocol is called the Authorized Departure Protocol. 3 steps. They're not motivation steps. They're obedience steps. Step 1. Name out loud what you're leaving behind. Not as a loss, as a deliberate closing of a chapter. There's a difference between abandoning and closing. Whoever abandons runs without looking back. Whoever closes looks, recognizes what was, and turns the page with intention. You're going to name the place, the bond, the version of yourself that was built for that context. And you're going to say out loud, "This chapter is closed. I no longer need to sustain what has expired." Step 2. Identify one small physical action of preparation and execute it today, not tomorrow. Today. Undo a bond that stayed open longer than it should have. Organize a space that's been waiting for this move. Unlock a possibility you postponed because you didn't feel authorized. The action doesn't have to be big. It has to be real. The Spirit confirms obedience when the body acts. Step 3. Before you sleep tonight, declare out loud the identity you received here, not as a wish, as a decree, bearer of a new season, obedient to the movement, positioned for the next. The identity declared out loud before sleep creates spiritual anchoring that sleep consolidates. The subconscious doesn't rest. It works with what you plant before you close your eyes. The confirmation sign isn't euphoria. It's not excitement. It's not that energy that comes and goes. The sign is quietness. The body relaxing slightly. The mind stopping its debate. The feeling that something was sealed. When that comes, you know the departure was registered in the Spirit. Write received in the comments if you're receiving this protocol. Now I need to warn you about what's coming in the next 72 hours. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. 3 things will be thrown against you. The enemy won't wait for you to finish this video to start. The first tactic is called armed nostalgia. It arrives disguised as gratitude for what was. It'll bring back beautiful memories of the old place. It'll make you feel like that warmth, that familiarity. Those people deserve your permanence, and you'll confuse legitimate longing with a sign that you shouldn't leave. Longing for what was isn't an indication that you were wrong to leave. It's confirmation that the chapter was real. But a closed chapter isn't a rewritten chapter. The second tactic is called demand for a full map. It arrives disguised as spiritual prudence. It'll say that moving without knowing the exact destination isn't faith, it's recklessness. It'll ask you for the address, the detailed plan, the guarantee that it'll work out, and it'll suggest that waiting for that clarity is maturity. It's not maturity, it's paralysis with a spiritual name. Ruth didn't have a map. The bird doesn't have GPS. Faith obeys the internal code, not the external map. The third tactic is called approval from those who stay. This is the most sophisticated one. It arrives disguised as relational responsibility. It'll say you can't leave until the people around you understand, that you have to explain, justify, get validation before you move. That loyalty demands waiting for everyone's approval, and it'll convince you to postpone the move indefinitely because unanimous approval never comes. And after the external tactics, the internal voice will come, more dangerous than any attack from outside. The voice that asks, what if you get the place wrong? What if the urge is yours and not God's? What if you arrive at the new place and find you brought the same problems? That voice disguises itself as discernment. But it's paralysis. It's the enemy using your own voice to turn obedience into hesitation. Write protected in the comments. The decree has been sealed. Now place your open hand over your chest, feet firm on the ground. This isn't the posture of someone running away on their knees. It's the posture of someone leaving standing, with the weight of a conscious decision. Hand over now the nightly inventory of everything that hasn't arrived in the old place. You carried that list for too long. Every item, every absence, everything that should have been different. You don't need to review it anymore. The chapter is closed. Hand over the guilt of wanting to leave before everyone understands. You don't owe the old place your permanence. You don't owe the people who stay a full explanation. Hand over that guilt. It doesn't belong to you. Hand over the identity built to fit into an environment that has already expired. The smaller version. The version that turned down its volume. The version that asked permission to take up space. That version served the chapter. The next chapter asks for something else. Now I speak directly to you, too. I saw you that morning in front of the mirror, before everyone else woke up, when the house was still quiet and the day hadn't started yet. I saw the look you gave your reflection and no longer recognized who was there. I know what you were asking without words. You were asking if what you're feeling is real or if it's weakness. You were asking if the feeling of no longer belonging is a sign from heaven or a failure of faith. I answer now. It's a sign. I saw every night you opened the list, the inventory of what hasn't arrived yet. And I want you to know that I was reading along with you, item by item. And every absence on that list wasn't an accusation against you. It was documentation of what the previous season didn't have the capacity to deliver. It wasn't your failure. It was the limit of the environment. You stayed past the expiration date of that season out of fear of being wrong, fear of leaving too early, fear of leaving for the wrong place, fear that the urge was yours and not mine. And I tell you, leaving at the wrong time is still better than never leaving. Because whoever leaves can be redirected. Whoever never leaves never arrives. The talent you carry doesn't fit where you are. Not because you're better than the place, because the place was made for another size. And the next place, the place I've already prepared, was dimensioned by what you are, not by what the previous environment was willing to support. I saw you smile in public and hold the weight in silence. I saw the loyalty that kept you standing in a place that had already expired. I saw the faith you exercised while waiting for a confirmation that was coming too slowly. And I didn't miss a single one of those nights. Not one. Each one was counted. Each one was incorporated into what's coming. The new place isn't a reward for suffering. It's the destination that was prepared before you understood you needed to get there. The new people aren't replacements for the old ones. They're the circle chosen by what you became during the wait. The new season doesn't start when you arrive. It already started. You're moving towards something heaven already inaugurated. Pack your bags with everything you are. Not with half. Not with the safe version. With everything. Now say out loud before you write in the comments, I leave with everything I am. Say it again. I leave with everything I am. Covering over your mind in the coming hours. Nostalgia won't have the power to paralyze. The demand for a full map won't have access to your decision. The approval of those who stay will stop being the necessary ticket for your departure, covering over your relationships in this transition. Those who need to go with you will go. Those who stay will stay with gratitude, not with rupture. And those who come in the next chapter are already being positioned to meet you at the new address. Covering over the timing. You didn't arrive late. You arrived on time. And when the next place reveals itself, you'll understand why this moment, this message, this decision couldn't have happened before. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You're not the same person you were when this message started. Write "done" in the comments. And send this video to someone who's waiting for authorization to leave. Not to a group, to one specific person. The one whose name you already know as you read this. The one who's also holding on to an expired season for too long and needs to hear that they're authorized to move. If they want to go further, the link is in the first comment. Waiting just like it waited for you. Until the next chapter, which has already begun. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong. If you're being heard up above. If it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.